On The Young and the Restless, tomorrow, Thursday, August 28th, 2025, Audra's not the only one in the hot seat. We've got the photo spoilers of what's coming up. On The Young and the Restless, the Abbott-Newman rivalry is alive and well in Genoa City. Let's see what's coming up on tomorrow's episode. Expecting Victor and Jack to ever stop trading barbs is probably unrealistic, and tomorrow is no exception. But now they have a new reason to argue even more. Kyle and Claire. It's one thing for Victor not to want his granddaughter getting involved with an Abbott, but now that it's been exposed that the entire time they were in the French Riviera, Audra was working with Victor to seduce Kyle, Jack and Diane are livid. It's not likely that Jack will keep his mouth shut around Victor now, not that his opinion means much to him. Meanwhile, Kyle makes a bold move. Claire has caught on that there is more to the story between him and Audra than he has told her. It's not too late for him to answer her honestly, but should he? Things went way too far between Audra and Kyle in Nice, and she seemed more than happy to let Claire know the truth. Now that she thinks Nate will never forgive her, will Audra spill all? Claire might not want to know the truth if she wants to trust Kyle. He claimed he knew he was on to Audra before they even went to France, so how can he explain that he was kissing her on his bed wearing just a towel? Did things go even further than we know? Victoria isn't happy either. She is worried about Claire's future. Claire had been through enough her whole life, growing up with Aunt Jordan, not to mention plotting her murder just a few months ago. Then she found herself at the end on Ian Ward's gun, and now her relationship is showing some serious red flags. What happened to the plan that Claire worked at Chancellor with Nikki, and was focused on being a successful career woman? With Chancellor the target of Kane and Billy, is there more strife ahead for Claire? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Soaps like The Young and the Restless are all about conflict and the next generation. There's plenty of the former in the ongoing Abbott-Newman wars, and recently, there have been references that have us thinking the show is going to beef up its cast, potentially leading to conflict with the next generation. We haven't seen much of Christian Newman, the biological son of Adam and the late Sage. We know he went to London with Nick, his father, when he traveled abroad earlier this year. Since then, Nick mentioned that Christian was attending basketball camp. Christian was born in 2015, so it's perfectly believable that a 10-year-old could be away at camp, shooting hoops. But once paternity and custody are established, soap youngsters are often aged up to teenagers, ready to embark on stories of their own. Christian's been around long enough to be aged to a teen. He has a unique lineage in that he's named after his grandfather Victor. Adam is his biological dad, but he's being raised by Nick. There have been references to Harrison over in Italy as of late, and we're getting the impression that the next time we see him, he might be a little older. Harrison debuted in 2021 and was around 4 years old at the time. That places him around 8 years old now, chronologically. Harrison's been very busy over in Italy, picking up the language. Perhaps he's picked up a growth spurt too? Harrison is unique in that he's got ties to not only the Abbotts, as Kyle is his dad, but Summer Newman is his adoptive mother. Whether Summer or Tara is his mom, Harrison is an Abbott, and Abbotts and Newmans don't get along. If the two young men were to make the Genoa City scene, they could find themselves at odds in business and perhaps over the same woman. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Friday, August 29th, reveal that Amanda Sinclair will return for new orders while Billy Abbott spills Kane Ashby's plan to Jack Abbott. First, on Friday's Y&R episode, Nikki Newman will try to lift Claire Newman's spirits by announcing her promotion. There could be some other shakeups at Chancellor as well, but nothing will truly distract Claire from her relationship issues. Claire will continue to fret over Kyle Abbott and how he broke her trust. Kyle should have come clean about kissing Audra Charles in France sooner, but what's done is done. Now all Kyle can do is move forward and try to prove Claire's the only woman he wants. That's why Kyle will buy an engagement ring and pop the question to Claire soon. In the meantime, Amanda Sinclair will make a comeback and get some new orders, so Kane may put her to work handling his blackmail dilemma. If there's a way out of this mess, Kane may count on Amanda to figure out what it is. Of course, it's also possible Phyllis Summers will seek Amanda's help once she's back in the picture. Phyllis might urge Amanda to convince Kane that he should move forward with all his takeover plots after all. As for Billy, he's not convinced that Kane is really backing down. Part of Billy is worried that Kane is merely using him as a distraction for the Newmans and that he still plans to cause trouble. Nevertheless, Billy will open up to Jack Abbott about Kane supposedly deciding he's done with all his Genoa City domination dreams. Jack may be just as skeptical as Billy over the news and argue that they have to be prepared for anything. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Billy and Jack will have to nail down their next move, so we'll bring you updates on any sneaky tactics they might use to their advantage. The Young and the Restless scoop for Wednesday, August 27th reveals Lily Winter's old feelings for Kane Ashby may be about to return. Also coming up, Nick Newman will try his best to calm down a spiraling Phyllis Summers. Plus, Nate Hastings will make an admission to Lily and Devin Winters. And Kane will tell Billy Abbott he's scrapped his plans for Genoa City. Y&R spoilers tease Audra. Charles will tell Sally Spectra what happened with Nate. She'll ask if there's anything she can do. "My only option is to give him some space," Audra will reply. Hopefully the time apart will make him realize what we mean to each other. "Sure, Audra." Talk will turn to the Abbott Communications launch. Sally will say it's a retro theme based on 1950s television. Audra will worry about being COO of a company that's owned by the Abbotts, but Sally will say she'll run interference. At Billy's place, he'll be surprised when Kane comes to his door with news. Billy will ask if it's good or bad news. "That depends on where your loyalties lie," Kane will reply. Billy will ask why he cares. After all, Phyllis told him he was out. Kane will laugh and say it was wishful thinking on her part. "It doesn't matter anymore. I have decided not to move forward with my original intentions," he'll add. However, Billy won't buy it. Kane will say he wants to work on building back his relationship with his children. Billy will say if this is what this is about, he wishes him luck, but he'll also ask if this means Chancellor is fair game. "Knock yourself out," Kane will say. "It's yours for the taking." Billy will ask how Phyllis took the news, and Kane will say not well. "You have no idea what you just unleashed," a grinning Billy will reply. After Kane leaves, Sally will show up, and Billy will fill her in on Kane. They'll have another boring conversation about what he's really up to. Sally will say if they figure it out, they could do a story about it and put Abbott Communications on the map. Meanwhile, Phyllis will leave a message for Kane. "You can't do this to me without having a conversation about this. Call me, please." But she won't realize Nick is eavesdropping. He'll ask her what's going on. Phyllis will say she just got some bad news. Nick will tell her he overheard part of her conversation, so it has something to do with Kane. What's he done now? Then he'll say he should have been the first person she turned to, not Kane. "He sees clearly that we are kindred spirits," she'll reply. She'll add she can get him back on track. Nick will beg Phyllis to rethink trying to convince Kane to go forward with his plan, but she'll tell him she's got this. Back off. At Society, Nate will tell Lily and Devin that it's official. He and Audra Charles are done. "I'm sorry," Lily will say. Then Nate will tell them about Claire Newman's accusations. But according to Audra, Kyle was pursuing her. Nate will add he remembers how desperate Audra was for work. So maybe Victor Newman's offer was too enticing to turn down. "Nate, you're not thinking about letting her off the hook, are you?" Devin will ask his cousin. There's no excuse for her going along with Victor's scheme. But Nate will say he's not completely sure if Audra actually did accept the deal with Victor. Lily will ask if he really believes that, and Nate will admit he may have overlooked a few red flags. Plus, she insisted he not go to Nice with her. "As much as I hate to admit it, it looks like you were both right about Audra all along," he'll tell his cousins. Then Lily will get a call from Kane, wondering if she watched his video yet. She'll say she hasn't, and tell him she has to get back to a meeting. Lily will leave Society, and a little later, Audra will walk in. She'll see Nate and Devin sitting there, grab her takeout, and leave ASAP. Finally, Lily will head to the lookout to watch Kane's video. And yes, viewers will have to sit through part of it again, after having to endure it on Tuesday's Y&R. Regardless, the video will have its desired effect, because Lily will get emotional and wipe away a tear. Keep reading the Soap Scoop for Young and the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman may have a wedding disaster brewing. If these nuptials move forward, will Audra Charles crash the ceremony for revenge? Kyle won't be able to rest until Claire fully believes his commitment to her. Although Kyle screwed up by keeping secrets about his time in Nice, he'll try to prove his love by popping the question. It'll be interesting to see Claire's reaction once Kyle gets down on one knee and asks her to marry him. Part of Claire will think it's way too soon, but another part of her may get swept up in the romance of it all. Kyle knows how to sweep Claire off her feet, so he may say all the right things and make Claire remember their deep connection. Perhaps Claire will accept Kyle's proposal and agree to start planning their wedding. Kyle and Claire could have a marriage ceremony in their future, but that doesn't mean it'll be completed, especially if Audra has anything to say about it. Audra certainly won't let this wedding go off without a hitch if she can't have her own happy ending with Nate Hastings. Instead, Audra might view Claire and Kyle's nuptials as the perfect opportunity for payback. Audra might even work out another deal with Victor Newman to destroy the wedding if she gets desperate enough. It'd be a mistake to trust Victor again, but Audra may decide she has nothing left to lose. Victor has assured Kyle and Claire that he won't interfere in their romance, but he may change his mind if they get engaged. That news could push Victor right back into sabotage mode, so maybe Audra could become part one last plan. On the other hand, Audra's own selfish desire for revenge might be enough motivation here. Regardless, it's easy to imagine Audra blowing up the wedding if Claire and Kyle actually try to tie the knot. In Y&R's August 28th episode, Kyle admitted to kissing Audra in his sleeping car back in Nice, but he didn't tell Claire that he was half naked when it happened. That's something Audra could leak and use in her favor. Audra told Sally Spectra that Kyle was a towel away from betrayal, so she should tell Claire that too. It could reinforce the idea that Kyle withholds information from Claire and twists things around to suit his needs. There might even be some other secrets for Audra to spill by then, so we'll see if some wedding destruction might be in her future. One way or another, Audra could make it her mission to ruin Claire and Kyle's chance at living happily ever after. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Audra could make some updates to her strategy and unleash even more trouble when the time is right. The Young and the Restless scoop for Thursday, August 28th reveals Claire Newman will be furious when Kyle Abbott comes clean about Audra Charles. Also coming up, Victoria Newman will wonder if she can trust her father's decision. Plus, Victor Newman and Jack Abbott will push each other's buttons, and Kyle will stun Jack and Diane Jenkins. Y&R. Spoilers tease Jack will blast Victor for targeting his son's relationship with Claire. You must be very proud of yourself, that sword you have over Kyle. Jack will add he knows all about the contract and the deal he had with Audra. You backed him into a corner. But Victor will say it was a test. By signing that contract, he showed more guts than you have shown in your entire lifetime. So, Jack will ask him to be true to his word and tear up the contract. Not surprisingly, Victor will refuse. Meanwhile, Kyle will tell Claire he's so relieved about Victor. That's behind us now, along with everything else that was in the way, Claire will reply. She'll add she told Nate Hastings about everything, but then Audra doubled down on her lies. Is there anything you haven't told me about your time in Nice with Audra? Claire will ask. So Kyle will say he doesn't have feelings for Audra. Claire will tell him she knows that, but if there's something he hasn't told her, she needs to know. Then Kyle will flash back to his parents, telling him that withholding what happened will come back to bite him. So he'll admit there was something. The trap that I set with Audra, Kyle will add. I allowed for a kiss. We kissed in Nice. Claire will ask where they were when he kissed Audra in France. My sleeping car, he'll admit. Claire will get angry and ask how far it went, and Kyle will say he had to go with it for a little bit. I had to expose her in order to bust her, but she'll say he lied. I asked you to be honest with me, so why didn't you tell me then? She'll shout. Kyle, Audra has been more honest with me than you have. Kyle will say it was wrong to keep it from her, and he'll apologize. You only told me because I forced you to, Claire will reply. Without the prompting, would you have just continued to lie to me? Kyle will say he loves her. Please, tell me I didn't make things worse. Claire will say she's not sure she can, and she'll walk out. At Crimson Lights, Victoria and Nikki Newman will discuss their favorite topic, Claire. Victoria will say she's not sure if she trusts Victor's promise to stop interfering in Claire's relationship with Kyle. I know that deep down, he wants Claire to be happy, Nikki will say, but I can't see him fully trusting Kyle. Victoria will get a message and then put her phone down. Nikki will pick it up and see her lock screen is her and Cole Howard. Then Victoria will hand her mother the key Cole gave her. There's a bridge in Serbia where couples often leave locks as a show of devotion, she'll explain. Cole was there and then he brought her back a key. Talk will turn back to Claire and Nikki will say she's going to promote her. Then Claire will walk in and say Kyle just told her he kissed Audra in his sleeping car in Nice. I'm shocked that Kyle took things so far with her, Nikki will reply. She'll add she should give herself some time, but say she has to get going. Claire will tell Victoria she just can't forgive Kyle for this right now, and her mother will also advise her to take some time before she makes any decisions. Finally, Kyle will approach Jack and Diane at Society. He'll say he told Claire everything, and it blew up in his face. I have to find a way to prove my love to her, Kyle will add. I'm gonna ask Claire to marry me. Keep reading the Soap Scoop for Young and the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Thursday, August 28th, reveal that Kyle Abbott will face Claire Newman's Audra Charles question, while Victoria Newman frets over some daughter drama. For starters, Claire will wrestle with more doubts when it comes to what happened between Audra and Kyle. That's why Claire will ask Kyle if there's anything he hasn't told her about what went down in Nice. Of course, Kyle is indeed hiding some things about what played out behind closed doors. Claire wouldn't be pleased if she knew Kyle was wearing only a towel and that he made out with Audra as part of his trap. Kyle downplayed that makeout session as one kiss when he opened up to Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott. There's a chance Kyle will stick with that story and spill the one kiss to Claire without giving all the facts. However, it's also possible Harrison Abbott will come running in and interrupt this conversation since his homecoming is set to happen soon. Whatever the case, Kyle will make a surprising move in Thursday's Y&R episode. Fans will see Kyle do something daring, so he may pull out all the stops to make sure Claire knows how important she is to him. In the meantime, Victoria will deal with some anxiety when it comes to Claire's next chapter. Although Victoria will want to believe Claire and Kyle have a bright future, she may fear things are going to fall apart and shatter Claire's heart in the process. While Victoria mulls over her daughter's drama-filled love life, Victor Newman will be busy pushing Jack Abbott's buttons. Jack will get under Victor's skin as well, so they'll have a showdown regarding their families and the fierce fight between them. The rivalry between the Newmans and Abbotts tends to lead to terrible news, so stay tuned for updates on what's in store. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor and Jack will stand their ground in the feud that's escalating, at least for now. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Mariah Copeland's mystery should start unfolding soon. Maybe the reason why she can't talk is that she's already being blackmailed by someone? Could we begin to see the real reason why the redhead says it's not safe? Keep reading, and let's talk about what could happen next with this story. When Mariah came back from her business trip, she seemed shaken up. Although she tried to hide it from Tessa Porter, it didn't work. The brunette knew something was going on with her wife, but couldn't get any answers. Tessa thought for sure that threatening to leave Mariah would do the trip. However, Mariah just kept saying it wasn't safe to talk about it. The redhead is having terrible flashbacks of her sin. Tessa probably thinks she cheated. However, that only seems to be part of the story. That night, Mariah startled a mystery man and smothered him with a pillow. However, we don't know why she turned on that man, although his features did look a bit similar to her former tormentor, Ian Ward. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Tessa has been spending a lot of time with Daniel Romalotti Jr. What started out as guitar lessons turned into a friendship. Now, they are getting even closer, and Daniel admitted to Danny Romalotti that he was developing feelings for Tessa. Although Tessa has a broken heart, Daniel has been her rock lately. So, it seems clear that once Mariah finally admits what's really going on, Tessa will have already moved on with Daniel. At this point, Mariah might think that nobody knows what she did. What if someone does, though? Did Mariah go as far as to dump the body somewhere, or did she just leave it in the motel room? Depending on her actions, it could be the man himself. Maybe he didn't really die and is haunting Mariah. It's also possible that if the man really is dead, maybe someone saw her that night. Could that person contact Mariah out of the blue, claiming they know what she did that night? If so, that might explain why Mariah basically abandoned her wife and child. This person could threaten to come after Tessa and Aria Porter Copeland next, so that could explain it not being safe to talk about it. So, if a mystery blackmailer is targeting Mariah, what happens next? The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Nick Newman and Sienna Bacall may find love. Will Sharon Newman lose to Tamara Braun's new character once autumn rolls around? Viewers will recall Sharon was stuck pining for Nick until he finally kissed her following all the danger in Nice. It was a huge deal for Sharon, but Nick's been acting way too casual about it ever since they got back home. A train lip lock and another almost kiss at the coffee house aren't enough to make Nick look like he's falling madly in love again. Of course, Nick and Sharon will always have a special connection due to their children and the rich history they share. No one can take that away from Sharon and Nick, but she may not be able to keep Nick's attention, especially once a mysterious and lovely lady struts into town. Tamara Braun has joined the cast of Y&R as Sienna Bacall, a new character who'll first appear this fall. It's never too early to start thinking about who Sienna will be paired up with once she hits Genoa City. Based on Braun's age range and the fact that Nick's being so non-committal about Sharon, Sienna might fall hard for the handsome Newman down the road. It might be fun to see Nick in a fresh pairing since the show never seems to go all in on Sharon and Nick anymore. If Y&R isn't going to deliver a proper Nick and Sharon reunion, then maybe they should just move on with other people. Sharon might have an opportunity to fall for someone else as well if Sienna swoops in and steals Nick's heart. Whatever the case, Braun will make her autumn debut as Sienna Bacall, so we'll bring you updates on any love interest news that might be in the works. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, August 20th, being Amanda back to Genoa City. Now that Kane has adjusted his plan, his right-hand woman has a new set of marching orders. Kane presumably left Amanda behind in France to clean up the mess of him keeping a dozen people prisoner. Cover up not one, not two, but 3 deaths, and make sure the temperature stayed steady in the wine cellar. Amanda is awesome. She did all that in record time. And now Amanda is ready for her next assignment. Which is important, because Kane came to town determined to bring down the Newmans, the Abbotts, and the Chancellors. But then Victor mumbled some threats about how Colin got his money, and Kane did a complete 180. But he hasn't given up completely. He just needs Amanda to fix something for him. Maybe, like, a lot of things. Billy pumped Kane for details about his new plan. Kane dismissed him. But Billy is not one to admit defeat. So, Kane or no Kane, Billy goes running to Jack with details about Kane's new plan, which he doesn't know. But he has his suspicions. These are just as good as facts. What are facts anyway? Truth is relative. Alternative facts are a thing. Even Jesus said, "We all have truths. Are mine the same as yours?" So Billy shares his with Jack. Victor promised Nikki he would never take Chancellor Industries away from her. Even if Nikki wants to give it up, like she did the time she thought it could save Nick, Victor won't have it. So when Nikki makes an independent decision, we assume that means she got Victor's permission first. Young and the Restless spoilers for September Chapter 5, 2025. See Billy Abbott's new scheme and Kyle Abbott snapping on somebody. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we start by talking about what's coming the rest of this week. and then we'll dive into what's ahead for next week. On Wednesday, August 27th, Sally Spectra talks to her bestie, Audra Charles, who is quite upset that Nate Hastings believed Claire Grace Newman over her. That could be because Audra was lying and Claire was telling the truth. Sally advises Audra to just come clean to Nate about her deal with Victor Newman, but Audra insists that will only make things worse. Of course it would, because she was doing something terrible. Audra is still insisting to Sally that she never would have slept with Kyle and betrayed Nate like that. But what she did was bad enough. Audra is planning to give Nate some space to calm down, hoping he'll miss her. So, Audra and Sally then chat about the Abbott.com launch, which is going to be 50s themed. Audra hates to work at a company with Kyle's last name on it and worries he'll try to get her fired, but Sally isn't going to let that happen. Nate is with Devin Hamilton and Lily Winters and tells them he and Audra split up. Of course, they're happy about it. Nate feels like there's a lot of bad stuff happening at once with Damian Kane's death, and Amy Lewis being upset, worried it's going to affect her cancer battle. Now his relationship is over. Nate asks if Lily and Devin noticed anything between Kyle and Audra in France. They confirm they definitely noticed Audra was with Kyle all the time, trying to claim it was business. Nate tells Lily and Devin that Claire said Audra cut a sketchy deal with Victor. Nate says Audra insisted that Kyle was twisting things around and was the instigator. Devin thinks Nate should not let Audra off the hook, believing she did all this bad stuff. Nate concedes, saying Claire is way more credible. Nate also recalls that Audra was very insistent that he could not go to France with her. It seems like this is done and dusted. Kane Ashby calls Lily to ask if she watched the video he made for the kids, which he also sent to her. She tells Kane to just give the kids time. Later, Lily watches the video in the park and gets a tear in her eye. Is she going to start softening up on Kane? Maybe. Phyllis Summers also tries to call Kane, but he doesn't take her call. She leaves an upset voicemail, which Nick Newman overhears and starts asking her about. Phyllis denies she was calling Kane. Nick asks if everything has blown up, if Phyllis's job is gone, and if Kane betrayed her. Nick's read is very accurate, but Phyllis, of course, denies it all. Nick asks her to let him help her, but she won't. Phyllis says Kane had a great plan, and Nick notices she's speaking in the past tense. He presses Phyllis, who says Kane is just upset about his kids. She blames Newman Media's hit piece on Duma for that. Nick thinks Phyllis is out there burning bridges with friends and family for this other guy. Kane meets Billy at his place, compliments the decor, and credits Sally. So, Kane says that Phyllis was lying about him, trying to cut Billy out of the plan. But now there is no plan. Kane states he's not going after all the big companies in Genoa City anymore. He tells Billy he doesn't want this big fight. Kane is tired, and Billy asks why and what's changed. Kane says he has to focus on his kids and fixing things with them. Billy says he still wants Chancellor, and Kane tells him to go for it. Billy wants to know Kane's plan to get Chancellor, but Kane won't share or help him out, saying Billy will be proud if he does it on his own. So, Billy warns Kane that Phyllis is not going to take it lying down, especially with Kane walking away from a battle she was so keyed up to participate in. But Kane isn't worried, saying Phyllis can find her own way, so her job is obviously gone. Billy wonders if Kane is lying to him, but Kane just says good luck. So, Sally shows up, Kane compliments her decorating taste, and then he leaves. Sally suggests that if she and Billy can figure out Kane's real game plan, Sally also thinks he's fibbing about being out of it. It would be a great launch story for Abbott.com. Billy is definitely unsure about Kane and whether he'll really stop going after all these companies, feeling like Kane might just be trying to throw him off the scent. On Thursday, August 28th, Victor and Jack Abbott are clashing over family. It's unclear if Victor is crashing the Abbott.com party or if they just run into each other at society. Little Harrison Locke is also back this week. Victoria Newman and Nikki Newman talked to Claire about the Kyle situation, and Claire got what she wanted. Audra has been dumped. It's expected that Audra might try to sabotage Claire further and still get her to dump Kyle out of pure vengeance, even though Audra engineered this mess. If Claire asks, Nikki might share that she saw Kyle and Audra flirting in France. And this could be why Claire is ready to confront Kyle by the end of the week. She wants to know if there's anything he hasn't told her about the Audra situation in France. Another spoiler indicates that Kyle takes a risk. Is his risk telling the truth or perpetuating a lie? Victoria is quite concerned about Claire's future. On Friday, August 29th, Nikki makes a big change at Chancellor. It's wondered if Claire is going to get a promotion. Amanda Sinclair is back and gets a new assignment, perhaps to help Kane reconcile with his family. Or maybe Kane is just lying low, getting rid of extraneous people. And he and Amanda will focus on his new goals once people's guards are down. Billy updates Jack with the latest Kane information. It's wondered if Billy tells Jack he doubts Kane is really scrapping the whole plan. Billy will obviously tell Jack everything, but whether they believe Kane or not remains to be seen. For the week of September 1st through the 5th, Kane is trying to slither out from under Victor's blackmail. It's believed Kane won't just accept defeat. He'll lie low and then strike harder. Adam Newman doubts Nick's blind loyalty to Victor's plan, and it remains to be seen if Victor tells them about the blackmail he engaged in. Billy and Jack may be getting played by Kane. Meanwhile, Phyllis is going to pressure Kane to keep fighting the war. Phyllis has been counting on this job, got her hopes up, and bragged to everybody. She's going to be really embarrassed if she can't get Kane to do what she wants. Also, Amanda is going to be baffled by Kane's latest maneuver. Sally is ready to take on Chelsea Lawson Newman and Adam professionally now that she's running Abbott.com, and they are running Newman Media. She's likely looking for a little payback on Adam and Chelsea for trashing Billy. Claire makes a big life choice soon. It's wondered if she is going to break up, or at least take a break with Kyle. Holden Novak is trying hard to get closer to Claire, and if Claire opens up about distrusting Kyle, Holden could make some inroads. Kyle may be on the warpath if he loses Claire. If she calls it quits or takes a break, he is likely to take it out on Audra. In huge news, soap legend Tamara Braun is coming to Young and the Restless. She makes her debut in about a month in the newly created role of Sienna Beale. She was last seen as Ava Vitale on Days of Our Lives. Also, she played Carly Corinthos and Dr. Kim Nero on GH. It's wondered if this new character is connected to Kane. If you've never seen Tamara Braun before, you are going to love her. She's a fantastic actress and a soap legend. The Young and the Restless star Doug Davidson won't be able to keep it in any longer. As many fans know, Doug was let go from the hit CBS soap a few years ago without any real explanation. That, and he has never been asked back to the show, even though fans have been begging for his return. Well, now it seems like Doug is ready to tell his side of the story, as apparently something major went down behind the scenes. Here's what you need to know. Up until this point, Doug has been very quiet, although he's made it no secret that he would love to go back to work on the set of The Young and the Restless. After all, Detective Paul Williams still has so much work to do in this fictional town of Genoa City, and especially when it comes to busting the bad guys and solving crimes. But for some reason or another, Doug just hasn't been asked back. Well, the actor took to his Twitter account this past week and wrote, "I guess I should do an interview with a trusted publication to explain what went down." Needless to say, soap Twitter went off as many fans couldn't help but wonder exactly what Doug meant by that. Many of them commented on the situation with, "It is true. You are inundated with questions. Paul's absence makes no narrative sense, and fans are left to fill in the blanks. Perhaps an honest interview would free you and your fan base," along with, "Please do. You were sorely missed in the 50th celebration episodes. You are a vital part of the show's history, and we would love to hear what happened." Another fan wrote, "If there's a story to be told and any misconceptions or gossip needs to be cleared up, then I definitely think an interview with a trusted publication or website needs to happen. There's always two sides to every story, these days maybe 5 or 6. In the meantime, let us know what you think by leaving us a line with your thoughts in our comments section below. The Young and the Restless airs weekdays on the CBS network. Check your local listings for times. For this next teaser, we're choosing optimism. When Gio and Dante connect, that means their icy conversations give way to something more positive, right? It has been months since Gio accidentally found out that Dante was his biological dad. Since then, they have shared minimal moments, and none of them were of any substance. Hopefully, Thursday's episode will change that, especially since he just had a nice conversation with Brooklyn. Meanwhile, Dante's dad finds himself potentially diffusing a problem. When Sonny offers reassurance, who is he calming down? Could Lily and Holden be Genoa City's next couple? The Young and the Restless likes to test the waters when it comes to pairing characters. Whenever two people share scenes together, chances are they'll be the show's next couple. Based on recent episodes, it appears that Lily and Holden might be headed for romance. Damien's death has Lily spending more time with Holden. Although Holden and Damien had a falling out, Lily offered her condolences in the loss of his friend. However, any kindness Lily's shown Holden has diminished now that he's working for her ex-husband Kane. Lily and Holden are on bitter terms now, but could that hatred lead to romance? On a soap opera message board, fans discussed the pair's recent scenes together. Many believe this is Y&R's way of chemistry testing the potential couple. They are having more scenes together lately. Am I wrong, or is there something happening between them? Asked one fan. It's not just you. I think they could be testing chemistry between Lily and Holden. Not sure how I feel about them being together, one commenter replied. I always thought Lily and Holden looked great together. Holden seems to have chemistry with some of the ladies on the show like Lily, Claire, and Audra. I think Holden is really good looking. I love it too, how he reads Lily so well and calls her out on her mess, declared one viewer. A Lily and Holden romance seems unlikely since Holden has his sights on Claire. Meanwhile, Lily could be slowly inching toward a reunion with Kane. However, on Y&R stories can change. If Lily and Holden prove to have chemistry and generate buzz, then the writers could pair them together. So, there's a chance Holly or Lolden might be Genoa City's next couple. Joshua Morrow reveals Nick's deep love for Phyllis. It looks like Sharon and Nick are about to hit another roadblock on The Young and the Restless, though this one is quite familiar. In a storyline preview for Soap Opera Digest, Joshua Morrow had an unwelcome update for Chic fans. I know the Sharon-Nick fans don't want to hear this, but Nick cares deeply about Phyllis. While that's not news, considering Nick has been on and off again with Phyllis for decades, Morrow's words were a preface for the drama set to unfold now that Phyllis has declared war on every elite family in Genoa City. Nick is a protector and a family man. It's his natural instinct to intercede when he sees a loved one going in the wrong direction. However, Phyllis' partnership with Kane will put him at a crossroads. Kane supposedly is abandoning his plan to go after the businesses of his competitors, but Phyllis is full steam ahead on the idea. It's a goal that will put her in direct odds with Nick. He won't sit back and let anyone mess with the Newmans, not even Phyllis. But that doesn't mean he won't be conflicted. Morrow shared, Nick knows that sometimes she is her own worst enemy. He knows that sometimes she doesn't make the best choices when it comes to her future and her life. His character's love for Phyllis is going to keep him from fully writing her off. However, Morrow has suggested that Nick may be pushed to go further than he'd like, battling his ex. Because I wonder myself, Morrow said. How far is Nick willing to go to protect the family if Phyllis proves to be a full-blown enemy? What does that look like for Nick? Beyond stating, Nick is saying he is always going to love Phyllis. They share a child together. They share a very rich history, and that's never going away. Orowo didn't elaborate on how Nick's battle with Phyllis will affect Sharon. However, the fact that the actor felt the need to directly mention what Chic fans don't want to hear could be cause for concern. If Nick is busy trying to protect his family and figure out a way to protect Phyllis too, despite her plotting against the Newmans, that doesn't leave him with much room to pursue Sharon. Not in the way fans are hoping for. We warned viewers about this possibility after their almost kiss. Getting wrapped up in the Newman family drama, especially when Phyllis is involved, is likely not going to be something Sharon wants to entertain. When the Newmans pursue a threat, it's messy, and it often blows back into their personal lives. Sharon may not be up for another whirl around the merry-go-round or competing for Nick's attention, which could mean, once again, a Chic reunion has been foiled. Can Phyllis understand and accept Kane dropping his bid for Genoa City domination? For the Friday, August 29th episode of The Young and the Restless, spoiler photos focus on Kane and Phyllis with another conversation on Kane's train. These two have been spending a lot of time together. He recently confided in her, and she gave him the best advice she could. But ultimately, he made a decision that blindsided her. Gear up for another Phyllis and Kane conversation on a train. After much soul-searching, in which he reflected on some of the final moments he had with his dad, and after making a heartfelt video for his kids, Maddie and Charlie, Kane decided that he would shelve his plans to take over Genoa City's corporations, Newman, Jabot, and Chancellor. He told Phyllis as much via a phone call. On Friday, look for the tech expert to head back to Kane's train to presumably have it out with the billionaire. She did a deep dive into AI and everything. She believes in Kane, so she could try to talk him into resuming his original plans. In the first image, things look intense between the two. Regardless, Kane's Arabesque is a huge conglomerate, right? Maybe there's something else Phyllis could do that would be valuable to Kane. Hitching her wagon to Kane has given Phyllis a sense of purpose, and there's no way she wants to lose that now. Will she succeed in talking Kane into reversing his latest decision?